what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. I am joined by Jax. Jax, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Ash. How are you?
I'm doing not as well as you. Dancing over there, my man. Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to rank or tier, if you will, all the cards that were balanced a couple weeks ago. Now that we've had enough time to actually play them, to try them out, to see what the pro sentiment, to see what the overall community sentiment is, and to look at the win and the use rates on all these cards. So let's just jump into it, Jax. First of all, actually, before we jump into it, how you doing, bro? You doing good?
Doing pretty well. We're getting ready to start the soccer season in like a week, so I've been trying to get in shape for that, and I've been getting progressively more tired, but now I'm getting back out of it. So,
do you run a lot? They make your coach make you run a lot, or no?
He's told us we should run a lot since we're not in season. We haven't gone crazy with the running yet, but it's gonna happen soon. So I've just been getting prepared.
I remember back in my soccer days. No viewer cares about this right now, but man, we used to run so much. I remember, I think it was my sophomore year in high school. I lost like 25 pounds the first time I actually ran. You know, other than being chased in my life. So anyway, but first, real quick, guys, today's video is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. You guessed it, where I upload every single day on my second YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about my two favorite things really quickly to do in Raid Shadow Legends right now. Thing number one is pulling champions from shards. So I have 11 ancient shards. We're going to open 10 right now. Give me that legendary. Give me that legendary. All right, so we have, oh, we got it. We got it. Yanako, welcome to the team! Okay, that was pretty cool. We had a 0.5% chance to pull a legendary, and we got a brand new one here on an ad, on a Raid Shadow Legends ad. Who would have thought? A great nuker to add to my team. She plays the perfect Veil on herself. She grants an extra turn, and then boom, just nukes and kills everybody on the squad. What's my other favorite thing to do inside the game, you ask? I'm gonna go ahead and show you the clan boss, the Hydra clan boss. These little dudes over here on the right-hand side of the screen, those are all different heads that will rotate in and out of battle and annoy the heck out of me in the process. Very challenging new boss added to the game. You can see 4 of these heads right now. These are my 6 champions that I kind of put together, specifically designed to take down each of these specific heads, each which has its own abilities, own unique abilities that do certain and annoying things to my team. I have some prizes for you guys. Just have to click the QR code on the screen, or scan the QR code on the screen right now, or click the link in the pinned comment or in the description below, guys, and go to your inbox right in the upper right-hand corner of the screen here. After you download, that's where your rewards will be. And today I have a free epic champion to give you guys, none other than Aina. She is a damage dealing champion. She deals a ton of damage, massive multipliers on all of her abilities. Not just that though, guys, I have 200k silver, an energy refill, an XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you guys can summon an awesome champion like I did in today's video, maybe even a Yanaka. Thank you so much, Raid Shadow Legends, for sponsoring today's video. Final note, make sure you go ahead and click or download today, because these rewards are only good for 30 days. Thank you again for watching, and thank you, Raid, for sponsoring today's video. Balance shaded, let's start with the Archer Queen. Move speed during ability, move from medium to slow. So what do you think of the Queen now, man?
So I think the Queen is still incredibly good, because the source, the main source of her power was that as soon as she goes in that ability, everything forgets she's there and she can nuke them. She just takes it straight out. She can kill like a full HP Valkyrie on your opponent's side, and it's just absolutely insane. So I think this change is good, because now your opponent can't just play her at the bridge and pop the ability as soon as she crosses, and you have to deal with that. Like, they have to play it closer to the tower, which gives you more time to deal with her. She has to take that tower damage. So I think on like the offensive side, she's a little bit worse, but defensively and even offensively, she's still amazing. I think she's definitely an S tier card right now.
I agree. My viewers can see my choice before you give yours, where I put the card initially, and then I'll move it according to Jax, okay? But I totally agree with you. I think that's a very fair take. I guess my quick follow-up on that, do you think more needs to be done to the Queen? Do you think she needs a nerf, or are you cool with her the way she is?
Well, I know one of the arguments that's used is that she's a champion card. She probably should be special and not overpowered, but like very good. Yeah. So I think for the time being, she doesn't need anything right now. Time will tell in the next couple of months, when the meta has time to settle, what's going to happen, because, you know, we just kind of threw back in there with a bunch of all the other changes. So once it settles, we'll see. I think right now she's barely okay though. Like she's barely in that near
She's
nerf.
borderline. I get you.
Very
I
close.
agree with you. I don't want to see a nerf to the queen. I know some people disagree, but I'm the same way. I want her to be very, very good. So next we have the Golden Knight. Golden Knight. He saw quite a bigger change. Let's say that ability cooldown from 8 to 11 seconds, dash range from 6 to 5. Where do you see the Golden Knight now, man?
I think they hit the nail on the head. That's the expression I was looking for. I think they hit the nail on the head with this nerf. They definitely got to the core of what was making the Golden Knight crazy. His huge dash range led to a lot of inconsistency.
Yeah.
I haven't seen many inconsistent Omega dashes like we used to see before. And the double cooldown really helped because if you used his ability on defense, you were almost guaranteed to get it back in time for offense. I think 11 seconds, I think it's about right. I think the card is balanced. Now, whether or not you want a champion like the Golden Knight to be completely balanced, I think is up for debate. I would put him personally in low B tier. They definitely knocked him out of the replacement for Bandit. Like right now, Bandit is definitely better than the Golden Knight after the nerf. And yeah, I think that's just about it right there with the Golden Knight.
I put him in like A- if I was going to rank, but I can't disagree with
B
anything that you said.
A-,
Yeah.
I don't know, somewhere in there.
Either way, I think he's still a really good card. To your point, though, some people want him to be better than a legendary, better than a bandit. So you guys can let us know how you feel about that in the comments below. Should I almost said mythic. I don't even know why. Should champions be better than legendary tiers? Let us know. Next up is going to be the old school tank, the Giant. HP plus 4%. Doesn't sound like much. I'm very curious what you think of the changes to Giant overall.
A lot of people have been calling the Giant bad recently, which is something I starkly disagree with. However, I think if you are going to make the argument the Giant is bad, the only way you would buff it is by its HP. I think that's a solid choice. But honestly, like Giant decks have been so popular. Like you see Kamikaze, I think Genius is the player, and like a couple of other high Giant double Prince players, which is considered the worst variation high. And then, oh my goodness, there were like 20 players that finished top 100 with Giant Graveyard last season. Even like before the Giant buff, it was really successful. I think the card really did not need this. I think a lot of the narrative that it was awful stayed with it as it was actually starting to recover a little bit. However, this isn't the worst thing in the world. 4% is healthy. It's a healthy buff, but it's not going to like break the game. And I think it's okay. I think it's a decent change. I would personally put Giant A tier right now.
Okay, cool. I had him B tier, but can't argue again with you. I was also surprised that they buffed him, but you know, to your point, it's not that big of a buff. It's not like he's breaking the game or anything like that. So agree with you there. Next up is going to be the mini Pekka. This one, honestly, I think I was, again, the minority here, but I didn't see, based on the comments at least, I didn't see this buff coming either necessarily. Kind of surprised me. 6% hit speed. Where do you put the mini Pekka now, man?
This one completely blindsided me. Okay. I honestly had no idea this was coming. Like, I don't think anybody was really expecting this. Was it needed? It's up for debate. I mean, as of right now, from what I've seen, the card isn't broken. I don't even think it's like being used much more because Archer Queen destroys it, Tombstone destroys it, Guards destroy it. I just don't think like the card is really going to get changed by the buff. However, I think it's a solid buff. Like once that goes away, I feel like the card in a healthy spot. I don't think it needs to be changed, and I'd probably put it high B tier now because of like it's still countered by all the guards and skeletons and stuff.
Sounds good. I put it A tier, but again, very close. Inferno Tower, 25% first hit speed, which also affects obviously the retargeting of the Inferno Tower. This one I'm very curious to see your opinions on as I frantically look for the card on my screen. There we go.
I think that this is a good buff. I think the card definitely needed it. The hit speed always changing, like changing targets so slowly. Always one of the bigger problems with it because it made it so weak to swarms. I don't think it's going to be a swarm juggernaut now, but I think it is improved upon, and I think adding more diversity to the building pool, so it's not just like Bomb Tower one season and Tesla one season. I think the Inferno Tower will be a solid choice, especially for like log bait players. I personally put it low A tier. I think it's a good card, and I think the buff was definitely warranted. I feel like it was C tier before, and I don't think the buff completely accounted for it, but I think people are realizing that it does have a place in there.
Totally agree with C tier before, and I think it's a good buff. I think they honestly, they really nailed it with these balance changes. You can argue like they forgot these cards, they should have had these cards or whatever, but in terms of what they did to the cards that they touched, spoiler alert, I think that they were all, even if you disagree with them, they didn't go too heavy-handed, which I really like, Really cool to see Inferno Tower meta. Do you think that the Inferno Tower is better? I know it's tough to answer in a vacuum, but like, do you think it's better than Bomb Tower if you can only run one in all your decks? Would you choose Inferno Tower or Bomb Tower?
Oh, that's a tough one considering
really
I'm not
depends.
usually a building player. Like, you came to the Bridge Spam guy to ask about buildings that are using cycle decks.
Come on, man. You got to do it. Yeah.
I think most people would probably still choose Bomb Tower just for the lower elixir cost. It usually gets the job done. But
Tesla. I should have asked Tesla, which is a better.
Yeah, Tesla. No, Tesla. I definitely pick Tesla still.
Yes.
I think the Tesla would definitely be low S tier. It's still like the best building by far. I don't think it needs any more changing. But Inferno Tower, I think solid, especially against Beatdown. If Beatdown makes a resurgence, you'll see a lot of Inferno Tower, and it should be pretty ready for that challenge with the new attack speed.
Okay, Musketeer, hit speed plus 9%. Musketeer, a big hit speed buff.
I think this one was unneeded. I think the Musketeer is just being overshadowed by the Archer Queen, as is every other ranged support unit.
Yep.
However, I do like Supercell buffing the other cards and not killing the Archer Queen. Because I feel like, again, we're going to see a more diverse ranged unit meta. Usually what ends up happening in these metas is that they choose one building and one ranged unit and then build their decks around that. And so you see the same couple of cards every time. Even for top ladder, where we're like supposed to see the same cards, it gets repetitive. So I think maybe in a vacuum, not warranted, but compared to the Archer Queen, I think it's warranted. And Three Musketeers, I'm gonna be that guy, Ash. I don't like the Three Musketeers because their decks really just kind of irk me. They kind of make, like, they just rely on pump cycle at this point in top ladder. You just try and get the pumps down as soon as you can. Yeah. But again, I think Three Musketeers are pretty bad. So in a vacuum, good buff for them as well.
So where do you rank Muskie? And then you have to answer, since you mentioned, where do you rank Three Muskie as well?
So I rank Musketeer probably high, like B++ to A-, somewhere in that exact area.
I had her A, so we'll go A with your A-.
I think I'd give her a low A tier. Again, I haven't seen her that much. I think she needs a bit more time to settle, but like, again, very solid card there no matter what. Just Archer Queen is just maniacal right now.
Yeah, and Magic Archer's still good, and Ewiz is still good. Now Hunter's on the scene, so there's so many options there, but I agree with you. I didn't see that one coming either. But Three Musketeers, I was excited to try them out. And man, I mean, I know a few players have success with Three Musketeers, but what do you think of Three Musketeers, man? I mean, are they C or
they're
F tier? Or
they're like a low C tier. I think they're a low C tier, not F, because a lot of players are still playing them. But here's, like, every Three Musketeer player, their entire strategy now is pump as soon as I can, use Bandit, Ghost, Barbell, Heal Spirit, which is like one of the cheapest 4-card cycles in the game, I think, to cycle to another pump, and just keep pumping until I'm either going to win or lose because I'm up so many pumps. Like, if a deck can defend while they have 3 pumps, the Three Musketeer player's not winning. If they can't, Three Musketeer player's automatically winning, usually because of the E-barbs and all that other spam. I think Three Musketeers without a pump is just dead, and Three Musketeers with a pump is just pump cycle, not as much Three Musketeers to win.
Got you. Like, pump, cycle, bait out their spells, or to your point, just get a million pumps on the board.
Exactly.
And that's not the way Three Musketeers were meant to be played. All right.
Not at all. Not at all.
So we have, I tried them in a recent video, Jax, Three Muskie, and bro, it's just like, I don't know, man. It's not like it used to be 5 years ago, right? It's just, I feel like Mega Knights, Valkyries, lightning everywhere. Goodness. It's just like, man, it's not that every deck has, and Wizards, every deck doesn't have just one answer. They have like 3 responses to Three Muskies, you know? Hunter had a big first hit speed plus 11% added. So, you know, touching other range cards as well. What do you think of the Hunter now? I'm seeing a lot more Hunter personally in the game.
I'm honestly very happy with this card. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't like that it does like a pekka's worth of damage when you just put it up in the face of something for 4 elixir, but I think it's one of the more healthy and unique ranged troops, because if you try and use it as a ranged troop, well, then it's not going to get as much value as if you were to melee and pop something in the face for 3/4 of its HP or more. I think definitely a good buff. I'm not sure how, like, if this is reverts that change that they had, or if it only like takes away some of the delay that they put on it, but I'm very happy with the change. I think it's a solid change. Hunter's definitely a mid to high A tier for me.
Okay, I agree with you there. Royal Hogs, which is one of your S tier cards the last time that we ranked the top 10 cards in the game. It was one of your highest ranking cards overall. Where is it now with a damage minus 3%?
Still S tier, in my opinion, because
okay.
yes, these changes happened within, I think, like 4 days of season end. And normally that's not normal at all. But I've seen this happen a few times. And if the card was really hurt, players would have stopped using it at top ladder. They would have like adapted fast enough. However, 33 players in the top 200 finished with this deck. And I think that's just absolutely insane. I think the card is still so good, and its surrounding synergies with Archer Queen and Spell Cycle just phenomenal. I think it's still very S tier.
Okay. Sounds good. I had an A tier, but we haven't been more than 1 tier off the entire video so far. Ram Rider, slow effect won't affect spawn speed. I don't know, man. Like this one, I haven't even noticed at all. But where do you? I don't know. A, have you noticed it? And B, where do you rank the Ram Rider?
So I was actually confused on what that meant until I just read this like right now. So I think what it means is like when the Ram Rider snares a witch, the witch just never spawns. Like she just completely freezes other than her main attack. Same with the Night Witch.
She spawned, but it was like slowing the spawn speed quite a bit. So now
it was? Oh wow! Show us how much I know that.
No, dude. I'm just reading from the notes they gave us. But according to these notes, it will slow the spawn speed of the witch and the Night Witch. It used to, but now it will only slow the movement speed of those troops. Such a small minor change. I wouldn't even put it in the balance changes really, but I guess they did, so that's fair. Where do you?
I honestly don't even remember the card spawning at all once the Ram Rider snared it.
Maybe you're right. So where do you rank the Ram Rider?
Ram Rider is still like high A tier, like in that Mega Knight deck. She's very solid card win condition right now. She definitely made a resurgence. She used to be very bad, but like her snare effect is still so great, and very few people use Witch and Night Witch anymore, unless like you had that. It's like the only cards you have upgraded. And I think that's more of like a bug fix, since it seems like it wasn't intentional than a balance change.
Okay, I agree. Like that's such a niche situation that it really doesn't affect the overall power of the card. So I'm with you, and I agree on the A tier as well. I think Ram Rider is like a really, really good card and easier to play in Pekka Bridge Spam than Battle Ram, versions. Balloon, this is the one that I really wanted to get your take on.
Right.
Damage minus 33, hit speed plus 33%. It's quite a rework. Help us make sense of this, Jax.
Okay, so I believe their intention with this one was to not make it as punishing if it gets that one hit on your tower. So I don't know how this like long term is going to affect the card. Currently, I think it did have a pretty steep drop off in usage rates and I think win rate, but I've checked the stats and I think it's a balanced card now. I think I would put Balloon personally low B tier, and I think that what it did is it makes it better if it connects to the tower. Like 2 hits is now more than 1 hit. Well, Captain Obvious here, but like it's gonna get 2 hits more often now.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is the pro commentary I'll come here for.
I love this. So is 3 more than 2 hits or no?
No, I think 2 is more than 3 hits.
Okay.
Like right, like 2. No, I'm kidding.
Now we get your point though. We get your point.
Like
more
it
damage.
gets 2 hits more often now. So if it gets to the tower where it would only get 1 hit, it now gets 2. That was what I was trying to say.
I know.
However, if you have a building, that building is now far more effective because it doesn't one-shot it. Like it one-shot Tesla with a zap, or if the Tesla had been alive, it one-shot cannon, one-shot bomb tower. Now it takes 2 shots to kill that. So I think it's more easily counterable with buildings and less punishing. But it can still get more damage if you get a full connection. So I think this is a nerf to the card overall. However, I think it is a very warranted nerf, and I think this is the best way they could have changed it, honestly.
Okay. I also had it I had a B tier. Where did you have it? Did you say?
I said low B tier.
Okay, cool.
Low to mid B tier.
And I think that previously when we ranked cards, we had an S, I want to say. So,
I put it high A tier before the change. Not an S, but high A tier.
So talk to me a little bit quickly about archetypes on Balloon, like Miner Loon, Lumberjack Balloon, Balloon Freeze versus Lava Loon. Is there one archetype where you think that, this is actually makes the Balloon better?
I don't think there are any where this makes the Balloon as a card overall better. I think there are a lot of archetypes where this becomes situationally better, but I think it's also a lot where it's situation. Oh my god, I can't even pronounce it. It becomes worse in some situations.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got you.
So I think
like buildings, like you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. I think Balloon Cycle is not going to be too affected by this change. I think most of their chip damage comes from the miners that heal the tower anyway, but they also get like death damage, and I think most balloon cycle players are content chipping out with death damage against buildings already. So I don't know how much of the change. Lava Loon, not sure if that's going to be better or worse. I think it's worse, but I don't think by that much. Because Lava Loon's like a support overwhelm deck as well. And Lumberloon, I think Lumberloon got the hardest hit because it has the most trouble against buildings already. But I don't think it'll be that much worse either, because if you face like a Tesla Expo deck, you already probably weren't going to win. So I don't think it's going to make it. I don't think this is going to be the biggest of changes for those archetypes.
Fair enough. 2 cards left, Prince and Dark Prince. Prince first, they can both jump over the river. Prince sees an HP reduction by 4%. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the, first of all, what do you think of the Prince and Dark Prince, but also what do you think of them jumping over the river? Does it really change much in your opinion?
I think it's random. I don't think these cards really needed that ability. However, I think that in a vacuum, like if without the HP buff, those cards would be a lot, or nerf, excuse me, a lot better. Like the ability to jump over the river is one of the things, because the Prince's worst nightmare was getting kited to the middle, or like having to play units, or having to play them at the bridge to go and get like a unit that's high up, like on it. Like they can't reach over the bridge except in very specific situations. So I think them jumping over the bridge makes them more of a threat. And I think the HP reduction is a good thing too. I think the Prince was really beefy. And I also agree with the Dark Prince. I think this is the perfect like counteract to that jump over the ability river. I don't think it was needed though. I think both of the Princes were incredibly solid before. This feels like a balance change where they were kind of just like, we need something new, and they added it. I don't think overall they really needed to do this, but I put both of these cards in the A tier right now. I think they're both still very good.
Do you think one of them, if you had to put one over the other, which Prince do you like more? I know they're quite different, but
personally, I like
stronger.
The Prince.
Yeah,
I think the Prince.
The Prince.
I think I would take the Prince. Dark Prince is. I think he's still a bit clunky with his splash damage and shield. Like I feel like his splash damage isn't enough, like, because you can make him have 2 hits versus skeletons and things. I think it's just like, yeah, I think I just take the Prince because of his damage and stuff. He's
sounds good.
So much. Like,
well,
damage.
Yeah, well, that concludes the list of all the buff cards ranked after the balance changes. The cool thing here, Jack, is that every card, with the exception of 3 Muskies, is either S, A, or B tier, meaning they didn't kill any cards, which is always a good thing on balance changes, you know?
I think the only other card that I would maybe make an argument for being C tier is Golden Knight, and maybe like Giant if you remove, because I think Giant's power comes from his decks, but then again, like all the decks contain the Giant, so he's got to be responsible for something. So I wouldn't change the Giant, maybe would change the Golden Knight though, because he's a little bit underwhelming at this point. But yeah, that's about it.
All right, well, that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Jax, where can we find more Jax?
I am trying to stream more consistently over the weekends on my Twitch at JaxCR_, and I'm trying to post on YouTube as well with soccer starting. And I also have a Twitter that I am unhealthily active on during school hours when my classes are boring. So if you want to talk to me there, I usually answer most of my messages. Sometimes I forget, I'm sorry, but I will answer most of the comments on my YouTube videos or Twitter as well. So
that's
if you want to see me there.
We'll have the Twitter, the YouTube videos, your stats, thanks to statsroyale.com, and Twitch, all linked in the show notes below. Jax, thanks again for joining us, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Always fun.
No problem, guys. Thank you for watching all the way till the end. Big shout out to, again, Bren Chong and Stats Royale, my YouTube partners. Check out their information in the description below, along with all Jax's information. Let us know what you think of these cards, and as always, take care, guys.